Good morning, students. So in the last class I have studied the central nervous system. Today we are going another topic that is the structure of the brain, or otherwise we can call as the cerebrum. So here a brain is a most important part present in a body of an organism, where here the brain will controls, that means here in the central nervous system, the 98% of the 98% of the brain or the central nervous system is occupied by the brain only, where here it is a very important. Why means during evolution, here during development of the brain in humans, it is more well developed in the humans than the other mammals. So due to the well development of the brain, here humans are discovered various types of things which are present in the universe. So in the universe, here a development of brain is the most important an aspect of the universe, where during evolution is taken place. And here the size, that means if you see in the brain in adults, the weight of the adult, the brain weight, that is in adults, the weight of the brain is 1280 to 1380 grams of the weight is presenting of the brain. But if we see in a newborn babies, a newborn baby, here the weight is 380 to 400 grams of the weight is presenting. It is in a newborn baby, it is 800 to 400 grams of the weight of the brain is presenting. Here slowly the increase, when the age is increasing, so here the age is increasing the age, the brain also increase in size up to the age of 20, up to the an age of 20, slowly it increases. That means the brain is gradually and increases from 380 to 400 grams. It is slowly increases and reach a maximum of 280 to 1380 grams of weight of a brain will be taken place, where here the brain is covered by the meninges. Here the brain is covered by the meninges as well as the cerebrospinal fluid, and also the gray as well as the white matter, along with this meninges. The brain is protected by the specialized box. That specialized box is called as the cranium. Or we can call as the cranial box. Is called as the cranium or the cranial box. It is protected by a specialized box. Due to the presence of a specialized box, here the brain is protected by the specialized box, so that box is called as cranial box, or we can call as a cranium. So due to the presence of our brain is protected by a specialized box, so due to these, here the humans or mammalians are called as the craniators, they are also called as the craniata. They are also called as the craniators. Why they are called as a craniata means the brain is protected by a specialized box. That specialized box we can call as a cranial box or cranium, due to the presence of a protective by the brain by the specialized box. So these are called as the craniators also. That is, cranium is presenting. Due to the presence of the cranium, here the mammalians are called as the craniators, including humans. And here the structure of the brain. If you see in the structure of the brain is classified into three types. One is called as the forebrain, and the second one is called as midbrain, and a third one is called as the hindbrain. So here the forebrain is also called as a prosencephalon, and the midbrain is also called as a mesencephalon, and hindbrain is called as a rhombencephalon. So here forebrain or mesencephalon, midbrain or the mesencephalon, and the hindbrain, or we can call as a rhombencephalon. So here the forebrain is divided into two parts. One is called as the cerebrum, and second one is called as the diencephalon, and the third one second one midbrain is divided into two parts. One is the cura cerebri, and the second one is the corpora quadrigemina. And the hindbrain is divided into three parts. One is called as the cerebellum, and second one is called as a pons varale, and a third one is called as the medulla oblongata. So these are the three different regions which are divided the structure of the brain, or otherwise you can call as the cerebrum. So here now we will discuss detailedly what are the different parts and what are their structures that been seen in the cerebrum, and now will be discussed. So coming to the structure of the brain, a structure of a brain or the cerebrum. So here the cerebrum, this is the diagrammatic where it shows the cerebrum, that is a structure of the brain, where here the brain is divided into three regions. The first region is called as the forebrain. It is called as the first one is called as the forebrain, or otherwise it is also called as an prosencephalon. So here it is an anterior part of the brain, which is presenting, it is called as the forebrain, or we can call that as the prosencephalon. It is also called as a prosencephalon, where here it consists of the two parts are presenting. One is called as the cerebrum, and the second one is called as the diencephalon. So here the cerebrum, it is the most important part present in the brain, where here it is a thinking, that is here will having a main important of the brain is the cerebrum. It is occupies most part of the brain. It is occupies the cerebrum, where here it is consisting of two cerebral hemispheres. It consists of two cerebral hemispheres. Here it consists of two cerebral hemispheres, and it is mainly a seat of an intelligence, speech or voice are mainly taken place, and also the storage of memory is taken place in the cerebrum only. And also here the cerebrum will consist of 2 to 3 centimeters thickness of area is presenting, the 2 to 3 thickness, 2 to 3 centimeters the thickness which is presenting, we can call as the cerebral cortex. We can call as the cerebral cortex, where this cerebral cortex is differentiated into grey matter as well as the white matter. It is differentiated into a grey matter. It is differentiated into a grey matter as well as the white matter. Here grey matter will consist of the cytons, and dendrites are presenting in a the cytons and dendrites are in gray matter will consist of the cytons and dendrites are presenting where it appears the cyton present in the cyton, the nucleus which is presenting it appears the gray color in the nucleus of the cyton is gray in color due to the presence of gray in color. This matter we can call as the gray matter. And the white matter, here white matter consists of the myelinated. It consists of a myelinated and axons. Myelinated and axons are presenting. These myelinated axons are the presence of the white in color. Due to the presence of the myelinated axons are white in color, they appears as the white in nature. And here the two cerebral hemispheres, that means the brain is divided into two cerebral and hemispheres, that is two cerebral and hemispheres. So it is connected, that is it is divided by a fissure called as the central fissure, or we can call as we can call that as a central hemispheres. We can call that as the central median. It is a fissure, that means it is divided by the fissure called as a median longitudinal fissure. It is divided by the fissure. That fissure is called as median longitudinal fissure, or otherwise it is called as interspherical fissure. It is also called as interspherical fissure. That is where it is divided, that means the brain is divided into two cerebral hemisphere with a fissure called as a median longitudinal fissure. And also here two cerebral hemispheres which are presenting, they are connected with each other by horizontal white thick nerve bands are presenting, that horizontal thick these are horizontal thick white nerve bands, nerve bands are presenting that thick horizontal thick white nerve bands which connects between the two cerebral hemispheres. We can call that as the corpus. We can call that as a corpus callosum. We can call that as a corpus callosum. So here what is a corpus callosum means, here the two cerebral hemispheres are connected by horizontal thick white nerve bands are presenting. The thick white nerve bands which connects between the two cerebral and hemispheres, such type region is called as the corpus callosum. Here it consists of and it is divided into a thick, that means it is connected, that means two cerebral hemispheres, it is divided by the median longitudinal fissure. So with the help of median longitudinal fissure, it divides into two cerebral hemispheres. The two cerebral hemispheres are connected with one another with the help of a horizontal thick white nerve bands. That nerve bands are called as the corpus callosum. So this is where that is divided into a corpus callosum. Next coming to this, the brain will consist of foldings are presenting. The brain, the cerebral hemispheres will consist of the foldings are presenting. The foldings which are the foldings, we can call them as the foldings, or we can call them as convolutions. So foldings are convolutions which are presenting, they are called as the gyres. So what are the gyres means? The foldings which are present on the cerebral hemispheres which are called as the foldings are the convolutions which are presenting, they are called as the gyres. Here these gyres are helpful for the increasing area of the cerebral hemispheres, or increase the surface area of the cerebral cortex. It increases the surface area of the cortex, where here it is increases, that is when it is increase the surface area, it helpful for the increase increase the surface area of the cerebral cortex or the cerebral cortex, or otherwise we can call them as the cerebral hemispheres. And also here it consists, it is when increasing here the length, when it is stretched, the stretch will be 2200 the square centimeters it is presenting. So here we will having the surface area or the foldings which are present on the brain or cerebral hemispheres, we can call as gyres, and in between the gyres the small structures are called as, that means they are divided, the structures are called as sulci. That means these gyres are divided into a folding structure, that means divided into small structures. That small structures are called as sulci, and the deep sulci are called as the fissures. That means a deep fissure, that means deep sulcus. That means the cerebral hemispheres or cortex is having muscular foldings are present in the foldings are called as gyre. These foldings are divided into small structures called as the sulci. The sulci, the deep sulcus, the deep sulcus or deep sulci are called as the fissures. So the fissures which are presenting the deep sulcus are called as fissures. The fissures will divide the cerebrum or the cerebral hemispheres into 4 lobes. It is divided. The fissures will divide. The fissures divide the cerebral hemispheres. The cerebral hemispheres into 4 lobes. These are divided into 4 lobes. That 4 lobes are, first one is called as the temporal lobe. First one is the temporal lobe. First one, the temporal. First one temporal, frontal. First one is a frontal, a parietal. Third one is a temporal, and the fourth one is occipital lobes. So here these are divided, that means occipital lobe. So here the fissures will divide the cerebral hemispheres into 4 lobes. One is the frontal, first one is frontal, second one is parietal, third one is temporal, and the fourth one is the occipital lobes. And here the frontal, that means the fissure which separates the frontal and the frontal and parietal lobe. The fissure which separates the frontal and the parietal lobe, that fissure is called as, which prepares the cerebral cortex. The fissure which separates the frontal and parietal lobe of cerebral cortex is called as the cerebral sulcus, or otherwise you call them as the fissure which separates the frontal and parietal lobe is called as cerebral sulcus, is called as the cerebral fissure, or otherwise you can call as a fissure of Ronaldo, is called as the fissure of Ronaldo, is called as the fissure of Ronaldo, where the fissure which separates the frontal and a parietal lobe is called as the cerebral fissure, or otherwise is called as the fissure of Ronaldo. And the fissure which separates the frontal and the temporal, the fissure which separates the frontal and the fissure which separates the frontal and the temporal, the fissure which separates the frontal and temporal is called as a lateral fissure. It's called as a lateral fissure, or we can call as the Selvelian fissure. So here the fissure which separates the frontal and parietal. The fissure which separates the frontal and parietal is called as a central cerebral fissure, or a fissure of Ronaldo, and the fissure which separates the frontal and temporal is called as lateral, or the Selvelian fissure, and the fissure which separates the frontal and occipital is called as the fissure which separates the fissure which separates the frontal and occipital is called as fronto-occipital fissure is called as the fronto-occipital fissure, and also the fissure which separates the temporal and occipital we can call as the tempo-occipital fissure. Fissure. That means the fissure which separates the frontal and occipital, that fissure is called as the tempo-occipital lobes. So here the fissures which are divided, that will be divided into different types, that is frontal, that means first one, the frontal is divided into parietal, is called as a cerebral fissure, or a fissure of Ronaldo. The frontal and temporal is called as lateral fissure, or a Selvelian fissure. The frontal and occipital is called as a fronto-occipital fissure, and the fissure which separates the temporal and occipital is called as the tempo-occipital lobes. And also here will consist of the cavities, that means in the cerebral hemispheres will consist of the cavities are presenting, that cavities which are presenting are called as the ventricles. They are called as the ventricles. These ventricles are open. So first ventricle is open into second ventricle, second is open into a third ventricle of diastole, where a diastole, that is diencephalon, where it is called as the foramina of Monere. That means here foramina of Monere. What is the foramina of Monere means? The first ventricle is open into the first ventricle opens into a third ventricle of a diencephalon. So such ventricle which opens the first ventricle into third ventricle of diencephalon, that opening is called as the foramina of Monere. So this is where we can say in the cerebral, that is a cerebrum, which is a very important a part present in the brain. Now coming to the functions of the cerebrum. Now coming to the last one, that is on the ventral surface of the cerebrum, on the ventral surface of the cerebral hemispheres, ventral surface of the cerebral hemisphere will contain small solid structures are presenting, solid structures are present are called as an olfactory lobes, These are called as an olfactory lobes. So that olfactory lobes, where they are consisting, they are very small and solid like structures present on the ventral surface of the cerebral hemispheres are called as olfactory lobes, where these olfactory lobes will consist of two parts. One is called as olfactory tracts and olfactory bulbs. These olfactory lobes consist of two parts. The The two parts are, one is called as olfactory tracts and olfactory lobes, olfactory bulbs, they are called as olfactory bulbs. These are non-functional in the humans. That means these are not functional, that olfactory lobes are non-functional in humans, but in other mammals, other than the humans, in other mammals these are well functions where they are the olfactory in nature. They are olfactory, or knowing about the smell of the substances. Here in humans these are not be well developed. Why means here humans will consist of nostrils. So with the help of nostrils it helpful for the knowing the smell, where this nose is one of the sense organ which helpful for the knowing of olfaction or the smell of the substances. So these are the olfactory lobes are non-functional in the humans, but in other mammals, except humans, in other mammals these are well developed for what means knowing about the smell of the substances. Now coming to the functions of the cerebrum, the functions of the cerebrum. So here the cerebrum is mainly a seat of, it is a seat of an intelligence. It is the main seat of an intelligence, and a seat of intelligence, as well as the consciousness, and also the sensation, and also it helpful for the sensation extra. These are, that means the main seat of cerebrum is the seat of intelligence as well as consciousness. When you are in a consciousness, we shows that the cerebrum is in a functional. When you are in unconscious, that means when you are in coma condition, the brain function will not be taken place. That is called as the consciousness. When you are conscious means the function of the brain is mainly taken place. And a seat of a sensation also. Not only this one, here it helpful for the knowing about laughing, weeping. These are mainly meant for laughing, weeping, as well as maturation, and also the defecation, and also it helpful for defecation. That means laughing is under the control of cerebrum. Weeping, that is crying, also in control of that is cerebrum. And maturation, the releasing of urine from urinary bladder, that is called as the maturation. And defecation, that means removing of the urea, that means removing of waste materials through the urethra or from the urinary bladder, we can call as a defecation. That means elimination of waste material through the anus. Elimination of the waste materials through the anus, this process is called as the defecation. So these are the under the control of the cerebrum. That is mainly these are helpful for seat of an intelligence. Not only for the an intelligence, here these are helpful in the response. These are seat of intelligence, consciousness, and sensational, and also laughing, weeping, maturation, and defecation. And also here it is performs another function, that is it helpful for giving then a speech. That articulate a speech is produced. The speech is produced only in humans, not in other mammals. It is an absenting. So this is where the functions of the cerebrum. Next, coming to the second one, that is a diencephalon. The second one is a diencephalon. Next, second one is the diencephalon. Diencephalon. So here diencephalon, it is also called as the twin brain. So in Arabic, the twin means a die. It is in Arabic, tween means the die. So here a diencephalon, that means two parts are presenting in the, that means in this we can call it as a tween means diencephalon means the head. That means this is the second part where present in the brain. So we can call as the diencephalon, where here it consists of two parts are presenting. That two parts are, one is called as the thalamus. The first one is called as the thalamus, and the second one is called as the hypothalamus. The first one is called as the thalamus, and the second one is called as hypothalamus. Here thalamus, it is a oval shaped structure which is having 2 to 3 centimeters thickness, where here outer surface is consisting of gray matter, and inner surface will consisting of, it is a oval mass like structure, oval mass like structure, where we are having 2 to 3 centimeters thickness, 2 to 3 centimeters thickness it is presenting, and also here the thalamus, which is consisting outer surface is a gray matter. Outer is the gray matter, and inner is the white matter is presenting. The white matter is presented. That is again gray matter. Outer surface it is occupied by the gray matter, and inner surface it is occupied by the white matter, where here it consists of, here it is enclosed a structure called as the diaucil. That means third ventricle is the first ventricle is open into the third ventricle. So that closing of the third ventricle is called as the diaucil. It is also called as the third ventricle. The third ventricle is also called as the diaucil. Diaucil. It is called as the diaucil. That means the third ventricle which is enclosed into the third ventricle. The third ventricle is also called as the diaucil, where the third ventricle is opened. The third ventricle is open into a fourth ventricle, into the open into a fourth ventricle. That third ventricle open into the fourth ventricle of a medulla oblongata, where it is having a narrow passage. That narrow passage is called as the narrow passage of it is called as aorta, or otherwise is called as cerebral. It is also called as the cerebral aqueduct. That means the third ventricle is opened into the fourth ventricle of a medulla oblongata by a common passage, that common passage, narrow passage. That narrow passage is called as aorta, or otherwise it is called as the cerebral aqueduct, which is present in the midbrain. That is present in the midbrain. That is where we can call as thalamus, and the hypothalamus. So here, what is hypothalamus? The sides and the floor and sides of the hypothalamus is occupied by the, that means the floor and the sides of the brain. The floor and the sides of the third ventricle. That means the floor and the sides of third ventricle. Third ventricle is consisting of a stalk-like structure. That stalk-like structure called as infundibulum. So that infundibulum will consist of the structures called as the hypothalamus. So these hypothalamus, it is a stalk-like structure where it is present. Hypo means below the thalamus, where it is presenting, where it occupies the floor and sides of the third ventricle. It is occupying by and attached by a stalk of structure called as infundibulum. That region we can call as the hypothalamus. It is called as a hypothalamus. So hypothalamus and hypothalamus are presenting in the diencephalon. They are present in the diencephalon. Now coming to the functions of the functions of that is thalamus and hypothalamus. Here the thalamus. Here coming to the functions of the thalamus, these are the relay center for conducting of an impulse. These are now we will discuss the functions of the thalamus as well as the hypothalamus. So now coming to the functions of the hypothalamus, the functions of the hypothalamus, these are the main center for the center for a relay center for conducting information, So these are the main, that means the thalamus is main center for the relay center for the conducting and information, that is a thalamus and a hypothalamus. Here hypothalamus, the main function of hypothalamus are, these are helpful for the metabolism of proteins, fats and carbohydrates, and also the maintains the body temperature, maintains the body temperature, anger, fear and hungry, etc. will be performed. That means here the main function of is proteins, the metabolism of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and also the maintains body temperature. That means here due to the presence of the hypothalamus in our body in humans and in aves, here what happens, it can able to maintains a constant temperature in our body. So here due to the presence of that is hypothalamus, here hypothalamus will act as the thermostat. That means it helpful for maintenance of a constant temperature in the body, where the hypothalamus will act as a thermostat, where it maintains the constant temperature, where it helpful for. So due to the presence of hypothalamus function, here humans are not only mammals and waves, we can call them as homeotherms. Why homo means maintains a constant temperature according to environment. Your body temperature will not be changes, that is mainly due to the presence of the hypothalamus present, where the hypothalamus it acts as a thermostat. Not only that one, it helpful for the angry and hunger, fear and the thirsty that are produced from the hypothalamus. These are the functions of the hypothalamus. Next, coming to the second one, that is a midbrain. So now coming to the second one, that is a midbrain. So coming to the second one, that is a midbrain. It is a second region present in the brain. So it is also called as the mesencephalon. It is also called as a mesencephalon. It is also called as a the mesencephalon, or otherwise it is called as a midbrain, where it is a small part of the brain. It is a small part where it is present between the forebrain and the hindbrain. Such part is called as midbrain, where it is also called as the mesencephalon. It is also called as a mesencephalon, where here it consists of two parts are presenting. It consists of the two parts. The two parts are one we can call as a cura cerebri, and as the second one is the corpora corpora quadrigemina, So here we will having the two parts are presenting. One is called as cura cerebri and the second one is called as corpora quadrigemina, where that means here the two parts which are present in cura cerebri and corpora quadrigemina, and the midbrain along with the midbrain along with the pons orale, and medulla oblongata forms the brain stem. That means here brain stem, what is the brain stem means? It is a formation of the midbrain along with pons orale and a medulla oblongata forms the brain stem. And here will consist of two parts, one is cura cerebri and corpora quadrigemina. So what are the cura cerebri means? These will consist of a set of nerve fibers, present on a ventral surface, or ventral side. That means a set of nerve fibers, which are present on the ventral surface of the midbrain is called as a cura cerebri, where this cura cerebri will helpful for the formation of where it connects. The cura cerebri will connects the brain, that means brain stem connects midbrain to the midbrain, that is brain stem to the, it connects the brain stem to a cerebrum. That means it is connected with the help of cerebrum. That means brain stem means midbrain along with pons orale, medulla oblongata. So here brain stem is connected to the cerebrum by the set of nerve fibers which are present on the ventral side of the side, that is called as cura cerebri, where it connects, the midbrain is connected to the brain stem to the cerebrum, it is connected. And also here the corpora quadrigemina, here will consisting of four lobes are presenting, four lobes are presenting, that four lobes which are presenting, spear shaped structures are presenting. Here a spherical shaped, that means a spherical shaped structures, the structures are presenting, they are called as the four lobes are presenting. The four lobes which are presenting in the lemon quadri means four lobes, gemina means lobes. So here spherically four lobes are presenting. First which are present on the dorsal side, they are present on the dorsal side of the midbrain. They are present on the dorsal side of the midbrain, are called as corpora quadrigemina, where consisting of four lobes which are present on the ventral side, where the first two are called as the superior lobes, and the second two are called as the inferior lobes, or we can call as caniculi. Superior caniculi are lobes, or we can call as inferior caniculi are lobes, where there are four lobes are presenting, where there are four lobes are spherical in shaped, four lobes are presenting. Upper two are called as inferior lobes or inferior caniculi, or lower two are called as upper two are called superior and lower two are called as inferior caniculi or lobes, where here these are the 4 lobes which are presenting on the dorsal side of the midbrain are called as a corpora quadrigemina, and a set of nerve fibers which are present on the ventral surface of the midbrain, where it connects the brain stem to the cerebrum. So that region is called as the cura cerebralis. And coming to the functions of the midbrain. Here main function of this that midbrain is it is a center for the confirmation of, that is a center for the information of that is visual and auditory reflex. Information is helpful, that means these are the center for the information of center for the information of the auditory as well as a visual reflex. Auditory as well as a reflex, that is auditory and visual reflex are taken place in the midbrain. That is the main center. This is center for the information of auditory as well as the visual reflex. Auditory means sound, knowing about the sounds, as well as visual means pictures, the photos that are reflexes are taken place in the midbrain. So this is the second part, that is midbrain, and also here the third ventricle is open into the fourth ventricle by opening called as aorta, or otherwise it is called as a cerebral aqueduct. That means here third ventricle, the third ventricle is called as diocele, where it is present in a diencephalon. The third ventricle is open into the fourth ventricle by a common, that is narrow aorta or a narrow passage called as aorta or aquatic, that is the cerebral and aquatic. That is where it is taken place in the midbrain. Coming to the last one, that is we can call as the hind brain. So here the functions of the midbrain. You have already studied the function. This is the center for the regulation of the body movements of the body in the form of auditory as well as the visual reflex. That means regulating the body movements in the form of auditory as well as visual reflex. That is the main function of the midbrain. Now coming to the hindbrain. The hindbrain, it is the posterior part. It is the posterior part of the brain is the hindbrain, where here it is also called as the rhombencephalon. It is also called as the rhombencephalon, where here it consists of the 3 regions are presenting. The first region is called as the cerebellum. It is called as the cerebellum, and the second one is called as the pons orale. The second one is the pons orale, and the third one is the medulla. The third one is a medulla oblongata. So these are the 3 regions where they are presenting in the that is hindbrain, where the hindbrain is also called as the rhombencephalon, where it is the posterior part of the brain. The anterior part is the forebrain, and the posterior part of the brain is called as the hindbrain, where it is differentiated into 3 regions: cerebrum, cerebellum, and cerebellum, pons orale, as well as the medulla oblongata. So here cerebrum, the cerebellum. The cerebellum, it is also called as a little brain. Here a large brain is the cerebrum, and a little brain we can call as the cerebellum, where here it consists of outer, it is covered by the outer surface is covered by the grey matter, and inner surface is covered by the white matter, where here the cerebellum is also divided into 2 cerebral. It is divided into 2 cerebellum hemispheres. Here it is divided by, the cerebellum is also divided into two cerebellal hemispheres, where here it is consisting, that means two cerebral hemispheres are connected by a worm-like structure called as the vermis. It is called as a worm-like structure, that is called as vermis, where vermis will connect the two cerebellum hemispheres with worm-like structure, that is a worm or a worm-like structure called as the vermis. And also here in the cerebral hemispheres it appears as arborita. It appears as a arborvitae. Arborvitae means a tree-like branches. A tree-like branches of that is a branch of a tree. Branches of appearance like a branch of a tree. A branch of a tree. So here we can call as the arborvitae. Arborvitae means it is a branch like a tree. It is called as arborvitae, where the two cerebellum hemispheres are connected with a worm-like connection. That worm-like connections we can call as the vermis. And here the coming to the functions of the that is cerebellum. Here all muscular coordinations or muscular movements are under the control of the cerebellum. The muscular coordination, that means muscular movements are under the control of the. Here will consist, it plays an important role in maintenance of body equilibrium as well as the coordination of muscular. Here mainly the cerebellum is mainly for the body equilibrium. It maintains the body equilibrium. It maintains the body and equilibrium, and also the coordination of muscular movements. Coordination of muscular movements, that is mainly taken place by the cerebellum. So here the functions of the cerebellum is mainly it helpful for the controlling of body, that is a body equilibrium will be maintained. Best example, when a drinked person, when alcohol taking a person, here when he taken place, here after taking off fully alcohol taken person, if you seen, he cannot able to walk properly. Why means here a body equilibrium will not be maintained, so that alcohol is affecting on the cerebellum. So here body equilibrium, that means he cannot walk straightly in the pathway. That means he walked differently pathways, that means falling down, likewise he taken place. So here a body equilibrium will not be maintained. So best example, that is alcohol taken person, if it in, he cannot walk equilibrium, that means body equilibrium, that means he cannot walk straightly into the correct pathway. That effect on the cerebellum. So here it maintains a body equilibrium. Not only maintaining of body equilibrium, it helpful for the controlling and coordination of a muscular movements are taken place by the cerebellum. Next, coming to the second one, that is a pons virale. Here a pons virale means these are the set of neurofibers, a set of nerve fibers which are presenting on the upper surface of the medulla oblongata. A set of nerve fibers which are present on the above the medulla oblongata are called as a pons virale. Here pons means a bridge. Here a pons means a bridge. Here it is a bridge where it connects the brain to a spinal cord. It is a bridge connect between a brain to the spinal cord, so that here it is called as a pons virale, a set of neurofibers. A set of neurofibers which are present above the medulla oblongata, such type are called as the pons varale. Pons means bridge. It is a connection between the brain as well as the spinal cord. So it will connect like a bridge between the brain and spinal cord. So here it is called as a pons varale. And coming to the last one, that is a medulla oblongata. Here it is the largest, it is the last part of the body. That is, it is the last part of the, it is the last or lowermost part of the brain. It connects to the spinal cord by an opening. That means it is the last part of the brain, brain, where this medulla oblongata will connects. The medulla oblongata connects to the spinal cord. The spinal cord by an opening called as foramina of magnum, called as foramina of a magnum, by opening called as the foramina of a magnum. That means here the last part of the medulla oblongata, it is the last part of the brain called as the medulla oblongata. That last part of medulla oblongata is connected into, that is enters into the spinal cord by an opening. That opening is called as the foramina of a magnum. So this is the part where, and here medulla oblongata will performs the various functions also. What are that main functions? Means here the main functions of a medulla oblongata means it controls functions of medulla oblongata. So what are the functions? Means first one, it controls two vital functions, such as the respiration and also the heartbeat. So here it controls two vital functions that are, first one is called as respiration and the heartbeat. So here when you say the organisms are dead, that is spot dead. If medulla oblongata is damaged, here it leads to the spot dead. That means if medulla oblongata is not damaged, here severe injuries may taken place. The patient may be that is alive in condition. But if severe the medulla oblongata is damaged, means it leads to the death. Why means spot dead? Why means it controls two main functions. One is the respiration as well as the heartbeat. So heartbeat and respiration is under the control of the medulla oblongata only. And also here not only this, here it helpful for it acts as a vasometer also. It also acts as the vasometer. The vasometer means here it acts as the vasodilator and also the vasoconstrictor. Vasodilator as well as vasoconstrictor. That means here it helpful for vasometer, means here increasing and decreasing of lumen of the blood vessels. So here vasometer means increase or decrease of lumen of blood vessels. So here it helpful for increasing and decreasing and lumen of blood vessels, where here vasodilators means it increase the lumen of blood vessels. So the such condition is called as vasodilators. And second one is we can call as the vasoconstrictors, where here it is called as it decrease That means here when it is, that means here the dilation, that means here in a summer season it increases the lumina of blood vessels, so here more blood is supplied, so that what happens, the sweat pores are opened, so outside temperature is more than the body temperature, here sweat pores are open and produce the sweat. So it helpful for cooling the affecting of the body with the help of vasodilators and vasoconstrictors. Here when in winter season, the heat which is present in body does not allow us outside, so it helpful for decreasing the lumina of a blood vessel. So here heat will not be taken place, so that will be taken place in the vasoconstrictors. Not only that one, here it is also center for the digestive reflex like salivation, secretion of gastric juice, and also here a defense, it also controls the digestive reflexes, digestive as well as a defense reflex. That means digestive reflex means secretion of digestive juices, gastric juice, all this will be taken place or under the control of the digest, that is by the medulla oblongata. And defensive reflex like vomiting. Here vomiting as well as a cough, these are the reflex we can call as the defense reflexes, where these digestive reflexes as well as the defensive reflexes are also under the control of the medulla oblongata. So these are the three functions. One is it controls the respiration and heartbeat, and also it acts as a vasometer for the increase or decrease the lumina of blood vessels like vasodilators and vasoconstrictors. And the third one is it controls digestive digestive reflexes, or it is a defensive reflexes. The digestive means secretion of saliva, or that is secretion of gastric juice, bile juice. These are maintained by the digestive reflexes. And defensive reflexes means like vomiting as well as a cough is under the control of a medulla oblongata. So these are the three regions where they are present in the brain. One is the forebrain. It is divided into cerebrum and diencephalon. Midbrain, it is divided into pura cerebri and corpora corporis gemina. And the hindbrain, where it is divided into three regions. One is called as cerebellum, pons florale, and medulla oblongata, and each one having their specific function that already we have discussed. So this is about the structure of the brain. So in next class we will discuss the other topic. Thank you.